Hello everyone. Today I just wanted to mention something about some of the freeze-dried meals that were sent to me back before I didn't have my channel and wasn't able to upload. Living in Minneapolis in June of 2020 was nothing nice. I'm just gonna say it was nothing nice. Everybody knows what happened here, and everybody knows what the news said happened here. I think we all know, and I'm afraid that if I talk in depth about it too much, I might get my channel taken down again. So I try to be cautious about what I say, even though I don't think that's right, and I don't believe in censorship. But yeah, so at the end of May, beginning of June in 2020, I live in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, okay? There was a lockdown, and the lockdown that happened here was extreme. Like, they shut everything down in a day. You know, like the second lockdown they did here happened in the dead of winter when it was 20 below wind chill, and they were still expecting people to stand outside the doors of stores for like an hour waiting to get in, limiting the amount of people, you know, stuff like that. And that was a nightmare. But in June of 2020 and at the very end of May, the whole thing happened with the rioting. In the middle of the lockdown, in the middle of the COVID-19 lockdown, is when the whole rioting happened. It all happened at once, all within a couple weeks, and all of the stores shut down for lockdown. Like, except big box stores, things like Target, Walmart, places like that stayed open, but all of the small stores were told to close. They closed everything here. They left liquor stores open, hey, but they closed down tobacco stores. Make that make sense. And they closed down all of the mom and pop stores, all of the foreign markets and things like that, but they left the big stores open. And then there was the riots and the fires, and that entire disaster happened, and it wasn't being stopped. So they called in the National Guard, but nothing was really being stopped. Everybody was very on edge, very angry, and they started destroying the stores that were open. And when they started doing that, those stores got very afraid, and they shut down too. Everybody boarded up and shut down that was still left open. There was only 1 or 2 stores in the entire city that stayed open, and the ones that stayed open, they made their hours like 4 hours in the afternoon. And that happened in both cities, not just Minneapolis. That happened also in St. Paul. And then they shut down the bus and transit and public transportation system. And they left it closed down for a while. Like, this wasn't just a day. It wasn't just the first day of the problem. They left it shut down for days and days and days and days. And they weren't opening it up again. So there was no buses, no trains. Uber people were afraid to drive in the area. There was areas they wouldn't go into. There was areas where they'd only drive during certain hours. And there was also a curfew. So they forced everybody to stop at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So nobody could get anywhere overnight. And anyway, the whole thing was insane, and it was impossible to get to the store. When I could go to the store, I couldn't make it during those hours very well, or they would be ready to kick people out of the store. And people were giving food out on the streets because people could not get food at all. And so charities and churches and things like that started coming and trying to pass things out on the street for people. And there was no buses, there was no trains, there was no taxis, there was no way, unless you had a car, that you could get to the locations to get the free stuff either. So I ended up eating a lot of the things that was sent to me because it's what I had. So yes, I did eat those things. I know they were sent to me to review. I understand that. But we had a disaster here. We had a real disaster here for a while. You know, there were buildings that were burnt down that were not fixed or cleaned up for over 1.5 years. Like, even at the end of last year, some of the places that were burnt down were still just sitting in piles of ash. It was really strange, and they wouldn't fund it to get it fixed. It took a long time and a lot of effort, and the city, I don't know what they're doing, but something was very wrong with everything. And that's about all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want them to take my video down. Okay, I also want to tell you the David Lynn Prepper Principal, and yes, he did change his channel name to David Lynn Prepper Principal, so people could look him up, because the preacher, David Lynn, always came up on search when I tried to look up his channel. There are other people with that name on YouTube that are pretty popular, so yeah. David Lynn Prepper Principal has sent me some Louisiana red beans and rice Backpackers Pantry things. He actually sent me several of these. I've eaten one of these already, but I have this one and this one and this one, and he also sent me the 3-cheese mac and cheese Backpackers Pantry meal, which is the one I'm gonna try today, because I want to see if it tastes like other mac and cheese or if it rehydrates. It says it has cheddar, Romano, and Parmesan cheese in it, so it might be a little better, actually. Like when you eat like Kraft mac and cheese or something, it's mainly just cheddar, right? Because I actually don't eat mac and cheese very often. I just add my own cheese. Like I put the powder in, and like the orange thing, and then I put shredded cheese with it, and I add a little extra butter and stuff. Because I don't know, toxic orange fake cheese, yeah, it's good, but you can always improve upon it, right? These are the ingredients and the directions on the back of this. It does say bacon type flavor. Bacon type flavor is usually some kind of smoke flavoring or something like that. When I eat bacon that's fake, like I eat Sweet Earth bacon, you know, it's like plant-based, and then I also eat Morningstar Farms bacon, which is actually made of eggs. So anyway, there we go. And then it says, directions, remove and discard oxygen absorber, because you don't want to eat that.
Add 2 cups of 480 milliliters of boiling water. Stir well, seal pouch, wait 8 minutes. Stir again, reseal, wait 7 more minutes.
So this actually takes 8 minutes and then 7 more minutes. So it's going to take a while, so I can do it off camera. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to put this together with some water, follow the directions, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I did boil a couple cups of water. I did put them in there. Look. Doesn't that look just entirely and completely insane? But I haven't stirred it up yet. Doesn't that look...
There is a storm coming!
Doesn't that look... Doesn't that look...
Brand X, brand Y, brand Z.
I'm going to stir it up like it says. Leave it for 8 minutes like it says. And then stir again. Then I'll wait 7 minutes, let it sit there, and then we'll try it. All right, so I stirred it again after 8 minutes. Let it sit, mixed it very thoroughly, and it is still kind of got chunks of cheese in certain spots. Let me show you what that looks like. But, you know, it looks like typical mac and cheese. It actually kind of looks like the cheese doesn't blend evenly, but that doesn't matter. It smells good. I don't know if I'd call this elbow macaroni exactly. I mean, elbow macaroni is like, when you think of that, you would think of like Kraft, right? Or like, you know, that typical shape. This is more like a
Spring, a marvelous thing.
Anyway, let me try this, and I will tell you what it tastes like. Ah. That mouthful was all cheese. I must have got a big chunk of cheese there. Well, that's not bad at all. I mean, it doesn't taste like your typical boxed mac and cheese, but yeah, you can tell that it has various forms of cheese in it. It's very cheesy, and I put the entire 2 cups of water in it too. I never really put less too often in these freeze-dried meals. Like people always say, put less water. You can always add more. But they think it'd be runny. This one is not runny. Like with a full 2 cups of water, it is very, very thick and the right consistency. This container has 2 servings in it. It does say 2 servings per container. A half a package is 1 serving. And it's 430 calories, which is actually very surprising because you'd think mac and cheese would have a lot more with pasta and cheese and all that. It does need salt, but most of these freeze-dried kind of meals do need salt. Or maybe I just like a lot of salt, but I don't think that that's the case because I don't actually add a lot of salt to my own food, so I don't know. I think if I were to turn this around and do a close-up, it'd be better. There's pieces of undissolved cheese, or maybe it's supposed to have chunks of cheese in it, separate from the pasta, but there's also sauce on it. A very, very filling kind of food. I wouldn't personally call it comfort food because I know people call mac and cheese comfort food because they grew up eating it, and I personally did not grow up eating mac and cheese. I don't know. Maybe my idea of comfort food is vastly different than everyone else's, but yeah, not to me, but I do like it. It does taste good. I am going to eat it, but I am going to split it into probably 3 meals because that is a lot of food, and pasta is very filling, and I don't eat a lot of food at one time. But this one is vegetarian in spite of the fact that it says a bacon flavor in it. Like, it's imitation bacon flavor, but I don't taste the bacon flavor. I taste the pasta. I taste the various cheeses. Not a lot of salt. Don't taste the bacon, but it is tasty. It really is. Thank you, David, for sending this to me. And I would recommend it, but I would recommend bringing spices with you just to improve upon it a little bit. Yeah. So thank you for watching. I'm going to try to get back into doing reviews a little bit every so often and stuff now that I'm back. I apologize. Please bear with me. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon.